Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I have a special guest. I have Latavious Brini, pro defensive back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Latavious Brini, how are you doing today?
Doing amazing. I'm doing beautiful. Can't complain, man.
Basically, today in this interview, I just basically want to pick your brain a little bit of your upbringings from the beginning to the end, to the feelings of basically joining a professional team. That's a big achievement. You know, many people can't say that. Many people play football, but never make it to that level. So first things first, tell me about yourself. What sets you apart from any other defensive back and basically upbringings from high school to college to now? Can you tell me a little about yourself?
This answer might sound so cliche, but it's just believing in myself and just going through what I went through as a child. And just knowing that at the end of the tunnel is always a bright light. So just believing in myself and just continuing the grind, even when things didn't look good my way, just grind.
Got you. And question for you: when did you know, as a kid, when did you know, damn, football is something that I could do professionally as a day job? You know, when did you know as yourself?
It's crazy. It didn't really hit me until my junior year of high school. I mean, I'm gonna say sophomore year. I seen
Mhm.
my other Latavious Brini. I seen him. He got his first scholarship to Akron, Ohio. Akron University up there in Ohio. That was like it hit me like, oh, hey, my mom can actually not pay for college, and I can actually do this and like go far in this. So that was like my come to realization moment.
Yeah, I mean that's always a dream, right? To take care of the family, to take care of the people you love, right? Um, Now, question for you: how did it feel getting your first college offer? Who was your first college offer, by the way? I really don't know that one.
So my first college offer was the University of Temple up there in Philly.
Oh,
It's actually from one of my old coaches. He actually taught me as a teacher when I went to the shopping yacht down there in Hialeah.
hmm.
Uh, People didn't know him from Miami. Down there in Hialeah, he was one of my first teachers, and it was a crazy moment because I'll never forget this day. We were playing against Miami Springs, and he gave me a call. He gave me a call. He was like, "How you doing?" He said, "I seen your film and stuff like that." And he know we had that connection ever since I was younger. So he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna give you your first scholarship." And I'm not gonna lie, I was so excited, man. I had a good game actually that game too.
That's good, man. So, off the top of your head, what in your high school career, what was your best game? Like, how many? What was your best game defensively? Did you always play defensive back, or you played other positions in high school?
So when I first started playing high school football, I played receiver actually. What
Hmm.
the fun fact about me playing receiver, I only got two balls thrown to me. And I ain't gonna say I dropped. He overthrew both of the balls. So
Uh-huh. So do you feel like playing receiver back then helped you become a defensive back?
for sure, because when you play receiver and then transition to defensive back, playing receiver help you understand defensive back a little bit better. To my opinion, it's like you trying to beat the DB and the DB trying to beat you, whatever like that. So it's just like knowing the steps and everything, knowing the mannerisms of a receiver is just probably one of the best things that I did, like transition from receiver to DB.
That's
DB.
good. I've actually seen that a lot. I've seen that a lot of defensive backs have played it just to get the tendencies of receivers and stuff. So I feel like that's a pretty good jump. And which college did you end up going to? Which college did you end up committing to, and why did you go to that specific college to play ball?
So I chose to go to the University of Georgia. The reason why I chose to go to the University of Georgia because I mean, I'm a Miami kid. I'm from here, so it's
Hmm.
like I didn't want to stay home. Growing up, I was a huge Miami fan, so I didn't want to stay home. And then it came down to like, oh, do I want to stay home or do I want to go to Georgia? And Georgia was like driving. It was probably like 11 hours, but like I knew a flight was like an hour 15, so it was in between. So I was like, man, why not? And then another reason was because the coaching staff at Georgia was like, I'm not Kirby Smart. You had Mel Tucker. You had um, Coach Coley. I mean, there was some people that I wanted to actually learn from, and I did. I did. You feel me? That was a great thing learning from
Yeah,
them.
and you actually won a national championship with Georgia too, right? How was that feeling?
And that was a real feeling. I mean, it's like It was so crazy. It was just so crazy because it's like a lot of people. I'm in the one, like I'm in that percentile of people that went to college and actually won a national championship. So that right there, I can hold my head high, walking around and say, "Okay, I got a national championship." Like I went to college, like a banner gonna always be up there at Georgia.
Mhm.
The trophy and the picture that we won the national championship, that's written in stone.
And you know what's funny? I think that year that you guys won, you played more than 60% of the games. Like you actually started more than 60% of games. Because there's one thing actually winning a championship, but there's another thing actually winning and actually playing in the season and being in an impact to the team, you know? So that's great. So just being that pivotal point in the defensive end for the Georgia Bulldogs is pretty darn cool. So how did the COVID year affect you by any chance, or like how was that COVID year for you?
So I always tell everybody that asks me about the COVID year, I always tell
Mhm,
them that it was a blessing and a curse at the same time. I say it was a bless. I'm gonna say it's a curse first because I mean the effect that COVID had on everybody and everything. So COVID
mhm.
slowed a lot of things down. But I say it was a blessing because it actually helped me get another year back. And then my COVID year was my first year ever like saying starting in the game and actually getting my feet wet, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Getting
yeah,
my feet.
of course, it makes sense. And then after Georgia, you actually transferred to Arkansas, right? What made you make that jump from going to the national championship team to Arkansas? Why? Like, why that jump?
That jump, I mean, that jump was crazy. I mean, I felt like Sam Pittman and that staff was like basically I felt at home like because it was the same staff that I was there when I first came to Georgia, so they just went over to Arkansas. I mean, the jump was pretty difficult just leaving that a high caliber Georgia and going to Arkansas and stuff like that. But I mean, I made it work best for me.
So after Arkansas, right, you had the idea of actually turning pro, right? So as a kid playing football your life, right? The dream is to make it professionally. Was there any thought from the moment you finished your football career in Arkansas to now that you were going to make it to the team? Which team did you actually want to play for? And was there any doubts whatsoever for you?
I mean, I feel like it was never a doubt. Because why play the sport if you have a doubt? Why
Mhm.
pursue sport if you have a doubt? So it was never a doubt. It was just more of I would say I was more anxious. Like I was nervous because it's like this is the pivotal moment in my life. And like you said earlier, a lot of people don't make it to this point. You feel me? A lot of people
Mhm.
just play and then that's it. They don't make it to the NFL level. So I mean, I was more excited and I was more like, man, I'm ready for anything, any obstacle that's thrown at me, I'm ready for it. So
Did by any chance, so obviously in football injuries happen, right? Did you have or do you have a plan B just in case, God forbid, anything happened during that phase?
yeah, of course. So when I attended Georgia, I actually went to Georgia all 5 years. I went to Georgia for 5 years. I actually got my degree in human development and family science. So I actually wanted to fall back on my degree if that didn't work out, if football didn't work out. Or actually, I didn't really tell nobody this, but I think I wanted to get in law enforcement. But
Mm, okay.
that's something on the back end, like when I'm done, or I want to run. This might be crazy, but I want to run like a reptile farm or something like that. I love animals, so I just want to run a reptile farm.
Oh man, I'm pretty sure you have pets, right? Like reptiles and stuff right now.
I had two snakes and I had two lizards. Actually, when I moved from Georgia to Arkansas, I got rid of them.
It's cold over there in Arkansas. It's a different culture. What you call it? So draft day. Now, what were your feelings during draft? Were you anxious about getting drafted? And what were your thought process and aspirations during draft day, like during the draft process, pretty much?
So throughout the whole draft process, my your anxiety go up. Everybody anxious because it's like a big moment in your life. So I always told myself, whatever happened, I'ma always be myself. I'ma always wake up and look in the mirror and say, I'm Latavious Brini. I can't be nobody else. I can't wish to be in nobody else's footsteps. So I always like whatever happened that day, whatever happened those days, I was like, man, listen, wherever team get to me or pick me up, I'm just coming in working. That's it. My head down, my ears pinned back. I'm gonna work.
That's great. So you had no idea which team was going to get you. You didn't care which team. You were just going to go over there and work hard, pretty much.
I was just going. I didn't care what team. I didn't have no idea. I mean, you have a couple of teams talk to you or hit you up, ask you for some information, but like how it pans out, you never know what team going to pick you up unless you feel me. You the first pick. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, 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 yeah. Of course. So, unfortunately, I believe you did not get drafted during draft time, right? How did that feel for you?
It was a slap in the face for sure.
Mm.
It was a slap in the face, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like I always say, like, I mean, God given, He take. So you feel me? You always got to keep your highs and your lows, and always stay neutral with everything you do. So at that point, I was neutral. So I was like, man, okay, I'm back on the drawing board. Let's work. Like I didn't. I felt some type of way about it. I was like, everybody got to see me. I feel hungry. I was more hungry than what I ever been in my life. This the most. I feel like I'm starving. This the most hungry I ever been.
That's good. And when did the Jacksonville Jaguars actually call you? Like, what? How was that thought process? What was it like? Did you have to do a tryout? Like, what was that whole process like?
So that whole process. I was actually working out. I was working out because I was working out to go to the Dolphins camp. So I got
Mm.
invited to the Dolphins OTAs. So as I was working out and getting ready to go to the Dolphins OTAs, my agent called me. He was like, yeah, I think Jacksonville Jaguars want you to come over. So he was like, I feel like it's a better fit. So I mean, I was just shot. I just shot up there, packed the funniest story, right? I only packed my toothbrush and a book bag, my Georgia book bag, and it had three boxers and three pants and shirts. Cause I knew I was gonna get it. I knew like I was determined. I was determined. I Nothing couldn't break that stride. I knew. You feel me? I knew.
So instead of being a Miami Dolphin, you chose to be a Jaguar, pretty much, right? You could have been a Miami native, bro. But so how was it? How was the OTAs? How was the camp? Who did you feel during the camp was like your biggest competition, or if there even was competition for you that you were going to either make the team or not make the team?
Myself. I feel like myself was a competition. And like I say, when I woke up, I looked myself in the mirror. It's like it's me versus me. It's me. I'm not competing with nobody else. It's just me versus me. Like how I do in this OTAs is like reflection of how hard I work and how bad I want this.
So how was it when they first told you, Latavious Brini, we want you to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars? How was that? Because that's a dream. Like nobody there's a funnel. I've heard the story many times. So when you're in high school, it's like a have you ever poured oil into your car? You have like that cone. So when you're in high school, you're the top of the cone, right? Because there's many good players. But as you keep going up or down in levels, you want to call it that, the cone gets smaller and smaller, right? The same people you play with in high school are not the same ones you see in college. They're not the same ones you see in the pros, right? So how was that? Because it's less than 1% make it. You're part of that 1%, less than 1%. So when they said, Latavious Brini, I want you to be part of the Jacksonville Jaguars, how was that like?
So the moment was so real. Like, okay, so when I we finished the OTAs and stuff like that because I had a tryout and stuff like that. So I'm just nervous. Like I'm more because and then plus on top of that, I was hungry. I was really nervous. Like I was walking around, but it was like nerves. But I had confidence in myself, and I knew. I just knew. So I was walking around there, so the general manager called me in his room. They called me in the room. I was probably like one of the last guys they called in the room. So when they called me in the room, I walked up to him and I just had this big smile on my face, like big smile. He was talking to me. Okay, he was talking to me. And then he was like, um, you're a Jaguar. And then like he put out his hand. I didn't even want to shake his hand. I gave give me a look. I don't want to shake your hand. And then it's the funniest story. I told my mom, I told my family. So like usually I don't cry. I don't cry. But when I tell you, when I got on that plane, from the time that plane took off to the time that plane landed, and I'm going back to Miami from Jacksonville, man, I was boohoo crying. I was crying. It's like I noticed, and I always say this is phase one. This is phase one. I got to get to where I want to get to. This is phase one. But it's like it took a lot to get to phase one, and then I'm ready to see where I can go from phase one. So that's why you feel me. Like I was really excited. I was really excited for sure.
That's good. Now, you've already had practice with the Jaguars. Who have you seen so far in practice has been your biggest challenge, or like receiver wise, or like defensive back wise? Who's been your challenge offensively and defensively?
I mean, all them guys out there good. And like I'm gonna keep saying, I'm gonna always say, I'm gonna say myself. You feel me? I'm gonna say my. But I feel like all them guys out there good. You got guys, but you got guys that been in the league for like 10 years, 7 years. So they know the ropes and everything. They know how the movements to everything. But I'm gonna for sure always say myself because it's
Mm,
like you're your biggest critic. You're your biggest challenge.
that's good. So once you play your first game as a Jaguar, which receiver are you most excited to basically line up against? And which one are you excited to face?
It's crazy, but I'm really excited to face Calvin Ridley. Like, even though he's my teammate, I'm excited because I mean, this guy right here is like he's this guy right here is the guy.
He's the
And
guy. Yeah, yeah.
talking with him,
So
we be
have you
talking.
seen him in practice? Have you seen him move? Like, is there anything out of the ordinary that you're like, ah, this, I could cover that?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. Boy, that man, he's just very smooth. Everything he do, he's very detailed. Everything he do is just like you look at him, you just stop what you're doing and just look. I'm like, oh, I want to
Mm.
learn that. I just want to go against that. I want to know, like, you feel me? I want to know how to, because in the league is like it's good on good. So you go against one of the best and learn from the best. So and the best teach you the things that you did wrong, so you can correct your game. You feel me? So then one of the guys I say, oh yeah, that's one of the ones right there.
That's good. And when you were in college, what was the difference between obviously the skill levels obviously are different, right? But when you were in college, what was the one receiver that was your Calvin Ridley back in Georgia or back in Arkansas? Who was that guy that during practice you were like, I want to face this guy every single play. I want to cover him. I want to shut him down.
Oh, everybody know that question. George Pickens. George
Mhm.
Pickens in college and still now he's that guy. Like George Pickens is like every time you see him, every time you see he doing drills in college when he did drills, we doing drills, you stop and just watch him and just do his drills because it's like he gonna amaze you. It's like especially when the camera's out, when the crowd around, he gonna amaze you. He gonna just do something that you like, wow, like is he human?
So
Yeah.
if I give you a freak scenario, if you have to face him again right now, like he plays for the Steelers, I believe, right? If Jacksonville and the Steelers play week 2 or 3, and you play him 50 snaps, who's winning majority of those snaps there? You or Pickens?
I'm gonna say me.
You. So if I give you 50 snaps out of 50, how many reps are you winning?
I'm gonna say out of 50, I'm gonna always say myself. So I'm gonna say out of 50 reps, 25 half. So I'm gonna say 26. Cause he gonna
26. All right, but the other 24 it could be touchdowns, right?
hey, listen, as long as in them 26, I can have 10 picks.
That's true. How do you cover him though? Like, what type of coverage are you doing? Are you doing man to man? Are you pressing? Are you going to cover him like with a zone? Like, how would you cover Pickens there?
Man, listen. The best way to cover that man is just don't let him touch that ball and don't let him get his body like he can control his body. Just don't let him. I don't even know. Like he just one of them guys that if he can judge a ball, he can you cover him good enough. I know you seen one of them catches versus the
Mm.
Browns that he did. You cover him good enough, he gonna make a crazy catch. So it's just like one of them guys that like you pray, you cover him good, you pray the quarterback look away, don't throw it his way. That's one of them guys.
That's all you got to do. I don't know for anything, force him to make one of those crazy catches. But I think that's pretty good. So your training, right, from college to now, how is it more detailed? Is it faster? How's your training like nowadays?
So okay, when it was college, it was more intense. It was more okay, heavy lifting, heavy lifting, heavy lifting. now that like I'm in the NFL, it's more of a movement, more of a take care of your body because this is a longevity game. You
Mm.
feel me? It's 17 games in the season. You look up, you on game 8, you like, golly, we still going. In college, you on game 8, you almost in the back end of the season. So it's like more of a heavy movement, making sure you like take care of your body, eat healthy, stretch, run, make sure you run. Excuse me. Make sure you run and stuff like that. That's more of like just taking care of your body.
So now that I believe preseason's about to start, right? What's going to be one of the biggest things in your mind? Are you still going to be anxious about it, or are you just going to be like, are you just going to walk in and just practice like you've always practiced? Like, what's your thought process now that preseason, the football season's like less than 50 days away?
I'm gonna say I can't be anxious no more because it's like I'm here now. Like that's what it is. I'm here now. I got my like I pray to get my foot in the door. I got my foot in the door. I got my you know me. So it's not the time to perform. That's all it is. It's like once the ball roll out, it's time to perform.
So, what are your goals for week one for the Jaguars? Like, what's your biggest challenge other than yourself? Like for week one, your first professional game. Like, what's the main goal for week one?
I'm not gonna lie, every time I play football, I just love when the announcers say my name. I just love that. That's my biggest thing. I love when they say my name. So I just want to keep hearing my name getting called. Oh, Latavious Brini on this play, Latavious Brini on that play. I mean that right there just itself, like give it everything itself. That's
That is a pretty good feeling. On just imagine that the announcers and let's just, bro, knock on wood. Hope you get your first pick, your
oh
first
my
fumble, your first sack week one, and just imagine the crowd is week one at Jacksonville or is it away?
I think it's a way, but I'm not pretty sure. Like I gotta check
But
it again.
even then, just imagine week two is at Jacksonville, or if week one is at I don't know. Let's just say the Giants, right?
Like we play the Dolphins at Jacksonville. So that'll be a pretty exciting game too.
That'll be an exciting game. Just imagine just a pick six against your home team. Latavious Brini.
My God. Oh my
That'll be
God.
crazy. Now, last notes. So, what can you tell us? Not just me, but the viewers, anybody that'll watch it, whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is. What's something about yourself that will separate you from anybody else? What makes you have that umph with that competitive edge over anybody else? What's something about you that nobody knows that just sets you apart from any defensive backs that's there, George Pickens or anybody else in the league right now?
My mindset. I mean, I know what it feel like to be at the bottom, man. I know what it feel like to be at the top. You feel me? I know what it feel like to have like I ain't gonna say have it all, but I know what it feel like to be a highly touted player and to be pushed down to this bottom. So I mean, my mindset, I feel like you put yourself through a lot. You put as a human being and as an athlete, you put yourself through a lot to get to the professional to this moment that we at now. So it's like I'ma just what go put me aside is like keep grinding, keep doing what I gotta do. Just like make sure the little things and keep God first. Like that's what the biggest thing. I'm gonna keep God first. Like every time, whatever I do, I'm gonna always make sure I keep God first.
That's good, man. And then I know you do charity work, right? Are you working on any charities right now, or that anybody should know about?
Okay. So actually today I just came back from I'm working with the police Hollywood Police Department. We did a fun day for the kids and stuff like that. I'm actually going to throw a book bag drive. I'm putting together a book bag drive. I talked to a couple of kids like some kids that's going through a lot with
Mhm.
mental health and stuff like that. I do a lot in the community. I mean, I love the kids. I ain't gonna lie. The tape love the kids.
That's good. So, we could wrap it up here. But if a little kid, 6, 7 years old, tells you, "Latavious Brini, you're my role model. What can I do to go to where you are at now?" Like, what would you, for example, if the 7-year-old self or the 7-year-old Latavious Brini comes up to you right now, what would you tell him?
Keep faith, man. Like God sent his toughest battle to his strongest soldier. So keep faith. Whatever you do, don't never lose the vision and the tunnel at the end. As you go, it might look far away, but it's there.
That's great. Honestly, that's inspiration right there. All right. So I think that should be good. So just to end it up, this is Latavious Brini, professional defensive back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm gonna put his Instagram, all of his links down in the description here in the videos. They call him the Vulture, Latavious Brini.
AV, man.
All right, guys. Thank y'all. Bye.